Hello, Adrian Gibson here with Just Karen Astrology, and I'm here to talk to you about this new moon in Taurus that is coming on Sunday, the 27th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, it's been an interesting journey looking through all the alignments and coming up with how it makes me feel on the inside. What I can say is, Taurus is this energy of bringing things inward and becoming. It's also about our values, and the sun and the moon are how we self-actualize, how we show what's on the inside every single day. And that changes. So it's a time when we are beginning something new. We're changing our values, what we valued in life, and we're beginning to show that. So I'm going to pull up the chart. Let's see there. All right, there we go. So it's an interesting looking chart. There'll be a couple of things that I want to look at in particular. But the sun and the moon, as you can see, are in at 7 degrees 46 minutes of Taurus together. And this exact conjunction shows that we've ended a cycle of how we've shown values and we're beginning a new one. And so I think we should talk about a few things. First of all, we should talk about Venus because Venus is ruling the sun and the moon at this time, being the ruler of Taurus. And Venus is still in Pisces. It's moved into Aries and retrograded back, and now it's moving forward again and getting ready to conjunct Neptune once again. But with new information, Venus has gone back into Taurus, and Venus is the energy of how we love, how we relate to ourselves, how we relate to other people. And both of those things are equal, sort of. How you relate to yourself, how you treat yourself is how you will treat other people, and vice versa. And so Venus and Pisces, it's two-sided as well. It's about dissolving the old ways that we've related to ourselves and to others, and it's dissolving old values that we've held. And at the same time, it's picking up new values. And these values that it's picking up are these Piscean values. And Pisces is the energy of completion. It's the energy of wholeness. I like to think of Pisces and Neptune 12th house energy as the Godhead. Like it's it's the place where all the energy coalesces, and from that coalescence, every all manifestation comes. And when it's done and finished its time, it goes back into the storehouse so that it's ready for new manifestation. And I've been talking about it for a few weeks now, a little more than a month, that this journey of planets through Pisces is really ending the old cycle and beginning a new cycle. So we're still in that phase where we are ending something and beginning something new. We have definitely more planets. Mercury has returned to Aries and is out of its shadow phase, really moving forward now to really experience Aries in a new way. But don't let me jump there. Let's go back to Venus. So Venus is ruling the sun and the moon, and basically because it's ending a cycle of value and beginning a new cycle, shortly as it conjuncts with Neptune in a few days. It's linked to the sun and moon. So it shows us that as Venus is doing its thing, we are literally starting a new relationship with ourselves and a new relationship, and that will translate to our external relationships also changing. The other thing I'd like to talk about is Uranus, because Uranus is in Taurus as well. Uranus is the energy to break free. It's to break apart. It's before these whatever's been manifested can get back into the Neptunian energy, it has to break apart. And then it dissolves and goes back into the storehouse. And so we're breaking apart these values, and we've been doing so. Uranus has been in Taurus for 7 years, nearly 7 years, and it will leave Taurus here this year and move into Gemini, which is another story. We'll talk about that later. But we're breaking apart old values, and they are being dissolved through Venus, and we are beginning anew. So values and how we value ourselves is very, very important at this time. The other thing that I'd really like to talk about here is this stellium that Venus, Saturn, and the North Node, because they're all really pretty much sitting upon each other. They've been doing so for quite some time. And I think I want to separate them out a little bit and then pull them back together so we can understand what this stellium is talking about. So the North Node, the nodes of the moon, are the evolution of ourselves. The South Node is about where we've come from and how we have seen ourselves, our past identity. And the North Node would be our future identity, where we're moving toward. And so in the sign of Pisces, the energy of completion and wholeness, and the energy of completion and wholeness has two different sides. Everything has two sides. We live in a dualistic world. And so on the darker side of Pisces, we can see like delusion and illusion and this energy of just, just like devoid of anything. It's escapism, those kinds of things. And on the more positive side is this energy of acceptance and the energy of transcendence, the energy of forgiveness. You know, we all make mistakes in life. And if we hold a grudge, that really just messes with our relationships. And so this energy of compassion for people that are going through a hard time, and even for ourselves, that this is an energy of dissolving. These are the energies that dissolve and allow things to begin anew. Compassion, universal love, forgiveness, and acceptance. So these are the words that I like to describe Pisces by, with full awareness that we can be working with the shadow side at any given time. But the North Node in Pisces, and will be in Pisces for quite some time till next year I believe in the summer, is saying that our future identity will be aligned with these energies of compassion, etc. Saturn in this place has also crossed over the North Node. They've passed each other and has picked up this energy where Saturn's the energy of like crystallizing, making something real out of the nothingness. It's the crystallizing energy. It's about time. And time kind of slows everything down so that we can experience. It's about um, yeah, making manifest. It's about self-mastery. It's about being our own authority. And we've gone through a period of time where we've broken out of the authority that our societies, that our parents, all of these things have had over us, which have prevented us from having our own authority and really moving forward as our true selves. And so Saturn is like crystallizing this Piscean energy. It's bringing it into ourselves. We're crystallizing this sense of compassion. And for all of us that live in the world right now, we know that that is something that is lacking. Not everywhere it exists, but as a whole, we're not very compassionate people. So Saturn, North Node, Venus are this, it's like the vibration of their energy is bringing forth this new sense of value and this new crystallization and our future selves of carrying this positive Piscean energy. Now, for others, it could go the other way where it becomes delusional and illusion and escapism and but we have to have compassion for that as well. Life is not easy. So the next part of this giant stellium, which I've been talking about for a while now, is Neptune. Now, Neptune has already moved into Aries. And this energy of Neptune and Aries, Aries is like ourselves. It's our instinctual self as it moves into the world. This energy, this Godhead energy as it moves into the world. And so Neptune rules Pisces. It carries the same sort of energy. So what's happening in this is this birthing process of bringing into our field of awareness, into our experience this energy of compassion and I like to say it's like a birthing a new compassionate human, a self, and we're discovering it because Aries is the energy of discovery. If you're beginning anything new, you're just discovering what it's all about. We're experiencing it. We're checking out different aspects of it. And so we're just beginning this process. And Neptune, as you can see, is at 59 degrees. Very shortly, it will be at 1 degree, and we'll really begin to experience here this energy of Neptune. What else? So that conjunction, this large stellium here, is this energy that is full of love and universal love, like not romantic love so much, although it can have that, but it's just the love of life. It's the, it's so interesting to me that it's happening in the springtime where everything is so beautiful. The flowers are coming out, at least in the northern hemisphere, but there's this energy of renewal, and we're taking that in, and that is becoming, we're learning, we're breaking away from what we have valued in the past, and we're learning to discover our new values. And this is part of this sun moon conjunction in Taurus, breaking out of the old and taking in the new. And so let's see. So the next thing that I would like to talk about, let's see. Let's look at this. Oh, before we even do this, I would like to show you what happens when we click on the sun or the moon. They're both in the same place, so they'll give you the same thing. The only thing that this new moon is touching is this Pluto-Mars opposition. So Pluto and Mars were exact just a couple days ago, and now we're moving off the exact opposition. This is the final pass through of opposition of Mars now, the third and final. And I want to describe these energies. So Pluto is the bottom line. It represents the soul, the part of us that we're not in direct contact with, but that emanates from that Piscean energy. It's the soul's desire. And the soul's desire in Aquarius is to break free from the constraints and the limitations that it's had living in the world as we have lived up until this point. And so we're going to be living through this journey of breaking away from, the way our societies have run. We're working on breaking free from that energy. Mars is the lower octave of Pluto. It's the part, it's the will or action. It's how on the earthly plane we act out the desires of Pluto. And Pluto, in evolutionary astrology, we talk about the direction of evolution as being the opposition point. And the opposition point of Pluto right now is at 3 degrees Leo, and it's conjunct the Mars. In fact, they were conjunct, everybody was all together at 3 degrees, and now Mars has moved to 4 degrees. But this new phase of doing this opposition point, which is Leo. Leo is the energy of the sun. Leo is our purpose. It is how we self-actualize. It's how we bring what's inside and shine it out into the world. It's our God-given purpose, really. And it's like our inner child. It's the energy of who we were when we came onto the earth before we had all of this conditioning, who we were as a child. And, for anybody that's a parent, we tend to correct the behaviors of our children if they are not in sync with what the societal norm is, because we love our children. We don't want our children to get into trouble or to become hurt or any of these things, and so we tend to quell the behaviors that are a little on the outside. And what can happen is the child can internalize that there's something wrong with it. And so it begins to change its behavior to fit into the mold. And this mold that I'm talking about is the conditioning that we have all been subject to. We get conditioned by our parents, who got conditioned by their parents, and so all the way back, we get conditioned by our teachers and our friends. And as we get older, the jobs and our government, and we're just continually adjusting and changing ourselves to fit in. And we've really lost sight of who that true inner being is. And one of the ways, there are people that definitely meditate and try to let go of all of that extra and focus on what's on the inside. This opposition point says that while Pluto is in Aquarius, we will all be working toward discovering and finding and becoming that true self. That is the purpose of Pluto in Aquarius. Aquarius is about individuation, not being like everybody else, whereas our conditioning has made us like everybody else so that we can fit in. We're breaking out of that energy. And so Mars being in Leo, Mars is how we're acting out. Pluto is saying, okay, let's go and find our joy. What is it that makes us feel happy? What is it that our true purpose is outside of the conditioning? And it's Mars. Mars rules Aries. It rules the first house. It's this energy of exploration. We're exploring who we are because we don't actually know. We have all been conditioned. And so this sun and moon, which is in a T square to this Mars Pluto opposition, is really having us make this change, because squares are about changing directions. It's about growth. And so we're growing. We have to believe differently, and we have to act differently. These are the two types of squares. And so we have to really believe in our own values, and we have to shift our values in order to act from our true selves. So let me see if I can come up with an example. For example, say the old values that we've had is having lots of money, and having lots of money requires us to work constantly, to work and save. Now, if we're working and saving, are we enjoying ourselves? Is that where we're finding joy? And is that where we're living to our true purpose for why we came? Well, it might be, but it also might not be. And in order to make these changes, we have to choose to act differently. We have to choose to act from what's coming out of our hearts instead of the values that we have been conditioned by. Here, I'm going to pull this back up, because we are breaking free from the old value system. And so in order to find new values, we really have to turn inward. And Mars has been through Cancer retrograde for us to determine what's coming from the inside. And now that it's in Aries, we are moving forward into the future and really looking for what that true self is. Let's see. The next thing I want to look at is Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet that rules Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is at its base level about freedom. And it is the right brain. It's not about logicalness like the Mercury is, the Gemini archetype, but it's about the right brain. It's about intuition and feeling through the body or through the soul what might be true or what might not be true. It's where beliefs come from, and intuition. And when we're in Gemini, and it's also about expansion because it is the largest planet. We're expanding our perceptions, and expanding our perceptions by adding in this energy of Jupiter, like this intuition. If we're only looking toward our left brain by what we can see, touch, hear, smell, taste, then we're missing a lot of the reality, because much of the reality is intuitive. You can't measure it. And so it's squaring the nodes. It's like the T square I was talking about with the sun and moon and Mars and Pluto. This is squaring the nodes. This is saying that we want to, this is saying that we have to expand our consciousness to include both sides to be able to work toward the North Node, the crisis and action square. And in order to leave the South Node, we also, or not leave, because we don't actually leave it, but where we're not focused on the South Node. This is a growth from the South to the North Node. It's an evolution of who we are. And the South Node is in Virgo. And Virgo is this energy of, it's the opposite of the Piscean energy. So where Pisces is the whole, Virgo are the tiny little details. And we have, for at least the last 100 years, have been able to discover what the tiny details are. They've even discovered the God particle through quantum physics. And so there's this energy of separating things out. And the South Node is how we identify ourselves. And so we have in the past been identifying ourselves through the energy of separation from the whole. And when we see ourselves through as separate, which is only part of the picture, because we actually are one people on this earth. But we have separated the land into countries. We have separated the countries into states or provinces. We have separated them into towns and cities. And what happens is, all of a sudden, when you start making these separations, we look at life through this hierarchy. And when we look at life through a hierarchy, we emotionally feel like we are either at the top of the hierarchy or sometimes at the bottom. Sometimes we feel like we're in the middle, but this sense of feeling less than helps us to continually make these adjustments and to improve ourselves and to better ourselves. And this goes on to the point where it becomes our focus. And so as we evolve into seeing ourselves as a part of a whole, and this means being part of the earth community with the trees and the animals and the insects and the plants, and we're all part of it. And if you shit the bed, you shit the bed here, then it's going to infect you. And so we really have to change our consciousness to understand that we aren't separate and that we are part of this larger picture. And so this is the square that we're dealing with Jupiter. I'm going to pull this back up. Mercury, the left brain, is in Aries. It's discovering a new it's discovering a new way of thinking about the world. And because Jupiter is in Gemini, it's including this sort of boundaryless energy. Mercury has also retrograded back into Pisces and is moving forward. So it's carrying with it this energy of the other side of reality, the oneness side. And so it's carrying this oneness side, and it's experiencing life from that point of view. And all of this Aries energy is new, and it requires us to really come from the heart, our own particular souls. We're all very different. We all have different gifts. We've all come into this life to experience different things. And what we think and our perception is all very important. It's not just one-sided. And I think that, yeah, part of our growth in this life is to really move back toward the self and to be back toward oneness. And this means looking at our shadow parts, the parts of us that we have squashed down and not looked at because they were deemed not acceptable by societal norms. We have to bring that stuff up to the surface. And it will come up as we start to do the digging down and discover, well, why do I do that? Why do I act like that? I've been working on these things myself. And the answers will come from within. And so as we do that, we start to make ourselves whole. And yeah. So I think what this new moon is doing for us is allowing us to internalize this new sense of self, these new values, this new way of looking at life. And it all begins with, the thought process shifts, the values shift, and then we start to see life differently and experience it differently. And we're really looking to discover who our true self is. And so we're learning to act from our hearts. And how to do that? What is it that makes you happy? What gives you joy? We're learning to be kind to other people and kind to ourselves. Do the things that you need to do for you. And yeah, you just have to choose. I mean, we're still living in this world where we have responsibilities and all these things. Take care of your responsibilities and then do for you. You kind of have to do both during these times. And perhaps in the future, those things will blend together. What you have to do is what you enjoy to do. So this is the energy that I see for this new moon. I wish you all a happy spring and a happy journey to discover who you are. If you're ever interested in a look at your birth chart, and where these planets are happening in your chart, we'll show you where it's happening for you in your life. And perhaps you have questions about what it is you're going through, and perhaps I can help you discover what these answers are based on the planets that are affecting you. So in the comments below, I will leave my website, and also I will leave the Substack account, which is where I write my full moon report, looking at all the planets, all the alignments, and put it together in a whole. I hope this was enjoyable for you and helpful, and thank you all for listening. Stop sharing. Oh, there we go. All right, we'll see you next time. Have a great week and have a wonderful new moon.